Recording.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Quorum being present, we have members Sullivan and Mello and Chairman Demaris are here. So quorum being present, I will call the meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission to order. This is going to be our last Zoom meeting, so this is the last time you're going to have to listen to me read this governor's order. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people who may gather in one place, this meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Freetown website, freetownma.gov. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we weren't able to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website or YouTube channel an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Apologize for my slight tardiness. I just walked in from work, had a little bit of a water situation to take care of. Can everybody hear me fine?
Yes.
Thank you. Just some administrative things before we get going. If items number 1 and number 2, those are both notice of intent. One was for 67 Chase Road, and the other one is for the off Chipaway Road, both solar, as I stated previously. The applicant, because this is an off night for Concom, usually we meet on Mondays, unfortunately had a conflict that arose with another meeting. They've asked for a continuance. I think between the applicant and myself, with respect to these projects, there was a level of interest, particularly the one off of Chipaway Road, that I think is going to be better served by having all this stuff in person anyway. So those two things will be continued to our next meeting, which will be June 14th. Additionally, we have items number 6 and item number 7. Those are both also for solar arrays. One is the Simmons Street project, and the other one would be on Gurney Road. Both of those have asked for a continuation. They are still in peer review, and they've asked to be continued so that they can keep on that course of working through the engineering review process. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this wholesale. I will call back to order the public hearings for the notice of intent 67 Chase Road, solar by TJA Clean Energy. Item number 2, which is a off Chipaway Road address. This is Just Solar LLC. Chipaway Corp is the actual owner and applicant. Another solar. I will call back to order the continued notice of intent for 0 Rear Simmons Street. That's Erica Buster's Sun Connect is the applicant. And I'll call back to order the continued notice of intent public hearing for 23 through 25 Gurney Road. Again, another solar. That is another one done by Sun Connect. So both applicants and or their representatives have asked for continuances to June 14th. The next question I have for Conservation Commission board members is, typically before the pandemic, we were meeting at 7 o'clock. The idea was to allow people to come home from work, get their dinner ready, do a little meeting prep, and be ready for 7. Historically, the planning board meets at 6. I don't care either way. If we want to continue with 6 o'clock meetings and that works for everybody, then we can continue with that. So Keith and Charlie, do you prefer 6 or 7?
I prefer 7, actually.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me, Kevin. So
Okay,
7.
perfect.
If Charlie'd rather do 7, that's fine. I am at the fire station next Monday, though. I mean, on the 14th. So just FYI.
Yeah. So we'll try to make sure Chris should be back from his trip by that time. So I don't imagine that it would be a problem, but we'll do what we have to do to make sure that that's the case. So, all right, then I'll entertain a motion to continue. Yes, sir. Anybody say something?
I'm a moderate man. If you wanted to maybe break it half and say 6:30, if that would, be to your pleasure. I'm good with that, just so you know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter either way. What really, Charlie, I think a lot of the reason why the planning board stayed at 6 and why I've contemplated this is oftentimes our staff would stay the nights of the meeting, and to have staff stay from 4 to 7 o'clock, it just, you know what I mean? So
I
if you want to,
that too. I realize, but I think that, in some ways, the 7 o'clock is better for people in general.
Yeah, hard to argue with that, Charlie. Hard to argue.
So,
yep.
But
so we'll stick with
like I say, I wouldn't mind 6:30 if you want.
Charlie, we'll stick with 7 o'clock, and we don't have staff right now anyway. So when we do get staff, maybe they'll live in town and right down the street, and it won't be a big deal. So we'll stick with 7. So on those 4 items that I mentioned on our agenda tonight, item number 1. The Chase Road, the Chipaway Road, item number 2. Item number 6 is the rear Simmons Street, and item number 7 is the Gurney Road, 23 through 25. I'll entertain a motion to continue all 4 of those public hearings to June 14th at the community room at the Freetown Police Station, 7 o'clock.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and supported. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. Okay. If there are any interested parties here that were here for that, typically we don't have any conversation when the applicant's not there, unless it's a procedural question. So if anybody has any of those, feel free to ask it now. If not, contact our office via email or phone call, and we can get you up to speed that way. All right, next item on our agenda, we have item number 3. This is a continuation of a notice of intent, 218 Middlebury Road in East Freetown. The applicant's Richard Miranda, and the scope of work is the restoration in response to an enforcement order. Do we have the applicant's representative here? Is it Stevie is here? Anybody from 218 Middlebury Road?
He sent me a message saying he's having trouble with audio. He's going to reconnect. It appears he's reconnected.
Okay, well, did you say he's reconnected?
Yeah, he muted and unmuted, but I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, well, Chris, is the door upstairs to the Concom office, is that unlocked?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I can't even get in the office. All right, I'll figure it out. And so while we're waiting for that, do we have the folks here from 32 Middleborough Road?
Yes, this is Christopher King with Atlantic Design Engineers. How are you doing?
Good, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is I will call the public hearing back to order. This is a continuation, of a notice of intent public hearing for 32 Middleborough Road. The applicant is CVE North America, and it's represented by Atlantic Design Engineers, and this is for a solar array. I'm going to apologize right now. I don't have a staff, and even the fill-in staff is actually on vacation this week. So Chris is kind enough to be running the Zoom for us. My office is locked. I'm going to see if I can't break into it. So I'm going to rely on the applicants and all to just keep us up to speed on as where the project stands. If you've gotten anything from peer review,
Sure.
If you need screen share, just let us know. Chris, let him share the screen if need be. Those interested parties, you can find these plans and follow along. You can either do it through your Zoom app, or you can go on the town's website, freetownma.gov. Go into boards and committees, you'll find the Conservation Commission. If you click on that, you'll see on the left-hand side, current Conservation Commission current filings. Click on that, and you will see everything that we'll be talking about tonight. So you can follow along, just click on the PDF. So, okay, so Chris, go right ahead, my friend.
Excellent. Thank you. Just for clarity, do we only have 3 voting members? I know we have a quorum. Do we only have 3 voting members? And I guess my question is, is, do we risk losing a voting member if we're going to introduce new information?
So that's a very good question. Yes, we only have 3 voting members present. Typically, what would have to be done is they would have to get read in on this. If they miss one, fill out the proper paperwork, saying an affidavit saying that they've in fact either watched or listened to the recording, and then get up to speed that way. So there is a process by which, you know, they can still participate.
Okay, excellent. I mean, so just to be as succinct as possible, we do not have peer review comments back yet from EPG. I just confirmed that earlier today with Adam Cran.
Okay.
Everybody else there just is inundated with new work. You know, I know that we recently did a site walk with the commission, and there were some things noted. I know that we had submitted some suggested conditions of approval, but really without EPG's review letter. You know, again, I didn't know if the commission was in a position to render a decision potentially contingent upon receiving the final sign off, if you will, from EPG, or you know, if the commission would rather wait and have that correspondence in hand. Just with our experience on the other project on Forge Road that was approved by the commission, this project is certainly consistent with that. We, you know, feel pretty confident that it meets the intent of the local applicable bylaws, not only the wetlands, but the zoning as well. So we don't anticipate any issue that would constitute a major design change. I know that, you know, this project has been before the commission, so, you know, I basically leave it up to you folks if, you know, if you feel like there's something that came up during the site walk, something for the suggested conditions that you have specific questions on, I'd be more than happy to answer those. I certainly don't want to get drawn out in a detailed conversation on the minutia of the engineering, understanding we don't have EPG's letter. But again, you know, we wanted to put our best foot forward, of course, and answer any questions the commission might have subsequent to the site walk from a couple of weeks ago. Any questions that you have regarding the conditions of approval, that the language that we had sent. And, you know, again, you know, hopefully I'm pretty confident we'll be getting EPG's letter prior to the next hearing. So we would just like to do whatever we can as the applicant to put the commission in a position to render a decision at the next hearing. So.
No, and I appreciate that, and thank you for taking the time to come out there and meet with us. I know there was a couple of you that did that, and I know it's not a short trip for some of you, so we do appreciate that. And again, this isn't on you, and this is on our end. It's that time of year. People take vacations. I don't have staff. I think some of this stuff is not being followed up on a daily basis, so I'm going to apologize right now, not only to you, to anybody else who's on our agenda tonight. Yeah, typically, unless it's just like one item, and I think with the Forge Road, I think it was specific relative to if there's a future condition that we encounter in the site that we would do X, Y, and Z. And I think, yeah, there's a level of comfort with that, but I think typically we usually wait for the final sign off by EPG, and I agree with you, Chris, that I don't anticipate much from Environmental Partners Group. You guys have been pretty responsive with the comments that were made by not only the board but by residents and EPG. And I know, and give credit where credit is due, I know you've gone out there. You folks are incurring additional costs that I'm sure you weren't planning on, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to serve a couple of purposes, one relative to stormwater and the other one relative to project safety, you know, entrance and egress. So I got to give credit where credit's due. I know you met with the abutters that were out there. I think Shelley and Dave, is that correct? And I think there was some, at least my impression in speaking with Dave and you folks, that there was very positive feeling that your efforts were not going unnoticed, and that they seem to be addressing the issue. I think at the end of the day, there's a level of comfort with conservation in particular once we get that final sign-off from EPG. So I hate to do this to you, unless the other board members feel strongly that if we could get that final sign-off and just give you a clean bill of health and get you on your way, and then just leave you with whatever outstanding items might be for planning board.
Sure. And, I appreciate everything that you've said. Appreciate the commission's effort. I understand you guys are in a little bit of a hardship situation. So,
Yeah.
we're willing, I'm absolutely willing to work with you. So if, we would if you would prefer that, we're certainly amenable. If you would prefer a continuance to wait for EPG's letter, we're certainly amenable to that. We would just ask the opportunity this evening to be able to vet any other issue that the commission has. I know there was some talk on, again, we met with the abutters. I feel like we've done what we can within the parameters that we're dealt with as design engineers and as the applicant, making the project financially feasible, if you will.
Yeah.
And reliably stable, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So, I think from a stormwater standpoint, we've gone above and beyond fixing some, what was brought to our attention within reason, what we can.
Right.
And, I know there were some questions regarding some of the conditions of the culvert. But I feel confident that the suggested condition, to allow us to, evaluate that at a later date once we get our land permits. Because as you noted, that's additional expense on all of these projects is typical with anything of this nature. But before the applicant spends extra money, they would like to at least know they have a project moving forward, and you, as well as I know, that I think that, some proper steel plating and some design on that can, basically bridge any kind of hurdle we may have on the access getting in, to make sure what is there, won't be damaged during the not heavy, but some of the heavier loading during the construction activities.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And to your point, I think your suggested conditions and those have been pretty typical because, sometimes a condition just can't be met till you actually do some physical work to get to it to see, right? And I think we can all appreciate that. And I think we've just asked EPG, and if not, we'll make sure to look at this point in time. I think the only outstanding item that I'm looking for 100% clarity on is that detention basin to the north. There were some statements made relative to, what's going to be its immediate impact relative to the cranberry bog and all that other stuff. And so I know the engineering calculations. I know you're required to design it by the stormwater management policy or the act or whichever, and it meets all that. But typically when a valid concern is raised, or when a concern is raised by an abutter, we like to rectify that. We don't want a loose end. We don't need somebody saying, I brought this to their attention and they never even looked at it. And what happens, it makes projects ripe for appeals and all that. And it ends up getting remanded, and we're here a year from now talking about the same stuff. So I apologize if you hear background noise. I'm in my office at Town Hall. So I think I'm in agreement with what you proposed relative to protecting those culverts. If there's a feasible method by which the culvert can be protected and we can still ensure that there is the flow that is supposed to be going through there, as long as that continues, I think most people would agree that, we've rendered that situation safe, right? We've done it here in our own community, in town. We've had bridges that have been insufficient in order to allow school buses and heavier vehicles to go over it. We've actually put plates on a couple of our bridges. So it's a relatively standard in the industry when it comes to temporary temporary situations. So I don't think that you're going to find much issue with that condition at all. So I appreciate you allowing us to take our time and do this. And again, I appreciate the fact that you understand we're in a bit of a bind here. And if anybody out there knows somebody that was looking for a 10-hour-a-week position that pays $17 an hour with no benefits, send them on down. We'd be glad to have them.
Kevin?
So you see our problem in trying to find some people. We're trying to rectify that too. So, but anyway, I can promise you that the temporary staff will be in place next week, and that there should be a better handle on the day-to-day operations and the day-to-day communication. So I would suggest continuing to communicate with the office either by phone or email. In the next couple of days, I'm going to have Chris check it just to keep me up to speed. But then next week, we're going to have more of the person comes back, the person who's going to do this is going to come back from vacation, and they're going to check on it a couple times a day. They used to be the conservation clerk, so they're going to have a pretty good handle on it. So, is there anybody here from the general public or interested party for 32 Middlebury Road that has a question or comment?
Shelley Hopkins has her hand raised.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Kevin. I just want to point out I did not raise my hand for the 10-hour-a-week position. I raised it for something else.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you're hired, Shelley. Hey, Lord.
No, I just wanted to first and foremost thank Mr. King and Mr. Young for their time and attention to our concerns and rectifying as best as they can. My question is more around, I know you had mentioned conditions of approval and things like that. Is that in writing somewhere or available for the public to view, just so that we can kind of have an understanding on what's been approved? I don't see it in the materials, but
again, right. So I haven't had staff. So, and this is where I'm going. And what I'm realizing is there's probably some follow-up information, whether it's review from EPG or if it's comments from the applicant or their engineer, that haven't made it to our website. And in fairness, because this has all been Zoom, and we just opened up the town hall to the general public this Monday, that's a very, very good point. What you will see on there, and I'll have to make sure whoever puts it on the website has to make sure that those would be proposed conditions of approval. Up until the time that we actually vote on it and agree to institute those conditions.
Okay.
So what we oftentimes ask is, some of these conditions are technical in nature, and rather than having the planning board or the conservation commission start fumbling over the technical words, we oftentimes ask the applicant to provide us with the condition that they would like seen on there.
Okay.
And then we review that for accuracy and effectiveness, and then we go from there. So, yeah, I'll see if we can't get some of that stuff on in the next couple of days. If not, next week it will be on there. And yes, it is absolutely for public consumption.
Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's before the next meeting, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything or anything. So, thank you.
And again, the next meeting is going to be in public. So, it'll be at the police station. And I don't know if you heard earlier, but we're going to be starting at 7 o'clock now that we're back to normal. So.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 32 Middlebury Road to June 14th, 7 o'clock at the Freetown Community Room at the Freetown Police Station.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Motion's being supported. There's no further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll see you, everybody. Thanks again for your work on this, and we do appreciate your patience. Chris, do we have any? Yeah. Great. Have a great night, guys and gals. We'll go back to item number 3. Do we have somebody here for 218 Middlebury Road?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Sure. Is this Stevie Cavallo?
Chris Gilbert.
I was close. Not really. Not even close. I don't have the Zoom going. I'm managing too many things here. So, your name is Chris, you said?
Yes.
Did we meet you out there?
Yes, I met you on site.
I thought so. Myself, and I think you met Victoria. She's in Rochester, so you'll see her over there. And I think Charlie Sullivan was there too. Okay, so what we wanted to do is, and this is in response, I will call this public hearing back to order, I'm sorry, for 218 Middlebury Road. This is in response to an enforcement order. What had happened was the property owner had done some work that ended up being in and around the different wetlands on the property. And so the Conservation Commission issued an enforcement order, and the applicant responded to that by filing a notice of intent plan that shows a restoration plan and a replication plan. So for those interested parties, again, on our website, you can download the PDF, go to the Concom section of the website, current filings, and you'll see it. So we're going to pull up that PDF. Chris, do you have a need to share the screen?
I can share it.
Okay, I think we talked rather in depth about it at the last meeting. What we wanted to do, because of the extent of the project and the restoration plan, we wanted to go out there basically and confirm where the delineation was and just get a better feel and get some boots on the ground. So at the end of the day, I'll say this. Is there anybody here from the general public interested in this? No. Anybody on the board have any other questions or comments? I know, Charlie, we went out there. I know, Keith, you were out of town that day. But basically what we saw, and I know you're familiar with the area and the location, is that there was some area within the buffer zone, and on the plans that's in the red hash that was disturbed. And then there was a bulk of the disturbance was within the actual wetlands. It's a wet meadow, so sometimes that's not obvious, but it happened nonetheless. So if there's no questions or comments from the board, then I'd certainly entertain a motion to approve the plans as submitted.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion made and supported to approve the plans as submitted. If there's no further discussion on the motion, I'm hearing none. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Mello, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. All right, Chris. So I think as laid out in what you proposed to us, obviously with the restoration, there's going to have to be some oversight to make sure that the restoration actually takes, is actually growing and all. Typically, that's over at least one growing season. That's what, an 80% success rate, if I'm not mistaken, over 3 growing seasons. So, if I'm going to say this, that will you be, and Chris, I know I'm all over the road, but will you be overseeing this project relative to the restoration?
We would probably have the environmental consulting company oversee it.
Okay, but at the end of the day, ultimately, you or a professional outfit will be responsible for overseeing this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that being said, then I would expect that we would be, any reports, site inspections would be available to us, and that they would react. Because the alternative is, if we can't get compliance or we can't get cooperation by you folks, and I'm not saying that we wouldn't, but then we would be forced to utilize our own peer review, and that can be time-consuming, and it can be also costly. Not to us, but to you. So typically, with restoration projects, we encourage the applicant to retain their engineer and provide us with up-to-date, reports and milestone inspections. What do I mean? If you've done the replication, you would have us go over there and check it out, once it's done. And once you get through growing for a while, you would ask us to come back and take a look at it. And so you would be amenable to that?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I can't promise you're gonna get the, permit right away, but I'm hoping by the end of next week we can have this thing sent out to you.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right, great. You have a good night, Chris. Thank you for coming. Okay, next on our agenda, we have item number 5. This is a continued notice of intent for 41 Water Street. This is for the construction of a single-family house with garage and barn. Do we have the applicant or their representative here?
I'm here.
That John?
It is.
Hi, John.
Hey, Kevin.
All right, I will call the continued notice of intent public hearing back to order for 41 Water Street. If you would just, John, state your name. Again, folks, before you do that, John, if you're following along, website, Conservation Commission, current filings, be under 41 Water Street, current plans. Do we have any interested parties here for this? Anybody here for 41 Water Street? Nope. Okay. All right, John, go ahead. Just introduce yourself, and then you can go ahead and make your presentation, sir.
All right. I'm John D'Souza from North County Group.
Thank you.
I believe since the last time we had, well, that we were here, we had submitted a revised plan, but Adam hadn't fully reviewed it yet. So
Okay.
he did not have a comment letter at the previous hearing. So that's why
Okay.
it was continued.
Okay.
And then he had revised his the letter. I believe most of the comments were taken care of. I know that he had a couple of items, and that's because of the continued possible permitting that may be required for the project, which I believe that would be issued, if anything, from the Army Corps.
Okay.
And also the state, if a Chapter 91 license was required. And to me, I don't believe that we need his peer review for the Army Corps or the state, since they do their own review thresholds on there.
Right. So no, that's a good point. So this would be conditioned, John, at the end of the day, like most others that would require additional permitting, that we would issue the permit, but it doesn't absolve you, and your condition, should you be required to file a permit with Chapter 91 or any other agency, that those permits would be in place, prior to the commencement of work on that particular part of the project, right? So that's typical. That's a typical condition that we would impose on something along these lines.
Yep.
So we're still waiting for.
Other thing, the other issue that was at hand, the neighbor, Miss Laurie Riley, I believe it is. And
Jeff Medeiros and Laurie, I don't know if, Laurie Riley, yep.
So prior to the previous hearing, I had met them out on site to go over the wall construction and to show them exactly the placement of the block wall, where it's going. And it was at that point that they reiterated that they really didn't want a portion of the existing wall to be removed, because they, in essence, they own that property line wall. So up until that point, there's going to be just the block wall is basically going to be going on the ground 2 feet behind that wall, and it's only 1 block high. And then once we get past that point, then the reconstruction of the wall will start. So we ended up.
I appreciate that. I know there was a lot of concerns, John, from the neighbors relative to this project, and I know that between yourself and your client, you've made some changes and you tried to work to accommodate some of those concerns. And I don't want to speak for people, but they were regular attendees at the very early on, and since that time that you've worked some of this stuff out with them, I don't know that they've come back to a meeting. So typically what that means is their items have been addressed. We haven't received any emails saying that they've got some further concerns. So I think that we've addressed them. If I see them, I'll reach out to them or whatever just to confirm that, but that's what the public hearing is for. So my understanding is, John, that all you have is all we're waiting on is that final review letter from Environmental Partners. Did I understand you correct?
Well, I think the letter is, I don't think it needs to be rewritten because I believe the open items that are left for any additional permitting that may be required.
Okay. Okay. So do we have Adam here?
No, I don't see him on.
We had, because so many things had been asked for continuances, and we hadn't gotten confirmation that who everybody was going to be here tonight. Rather than everybody getting charged for the peer review to be at the meeting, I said that if we needed him, we would call him. So I just didn't know if he had decided to join anyway. So, and I agree with you, John, that really the only outstanding items would be any further permitting required by the Army Corps or the state. But that's on you, right? At the end of the day, we don't enforce those rules and regulations. We don't review for them either. It's just EPG had to point out that it may in fact require that filing. So, and you would be at you and your applicant would be at your own jeopardy if you decide to try to do something, and something tells me that the federal government is not as understanding sometimes as local governments. So
that is true.
Yeah. So any other comments from the board members? No. All right. Anybody here from the public? I know I've asked that once before, but I'll do it again. No? All right. So the plans that we have, these are the most recent plans. You've got planting schedule, where the trees are going to go, and the like, right?
Yes.
And that would be that's plan dated 4/26. Is that correct, John?
Yep.
Okay. I'm looking at those plans, John, now.
Actually, no, there was one other revision date after that. It should be May of 4th.
Yeah. And see, here's the problem, John. Here's the problem. Those plans are not on our website. Because, again, I don't know if you heard, right? We don't have any staff, and even the temporary staff went on vacation this week. So that stuff is not on our website to look at and to vote on. And for that, I apologize. Man, oh man, we need to find somebody.
Yeah, because the new plans also have the barn located to the opposite.
Well, that's what I was looking at. I didn't see the other ones where the barn was located and anything else, John. Jesus, I hate to tell you, you're going to have to wait 2 more weeks, but I would say this. How about this, John, to make you and your client feel a little bit more at ease. If there's nothing else from the general public or from the Conservation Commission board members, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make it.
Oh, sorry, Charlie.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Excellent. We won't have any more of this once we start in person.
I know, right?
And John, all right. So motion been made and supported to close the public hearing. What does that mean? No new information, unless it's of monumental concerns, can be brought up. We're closed to the public at this point in time. It's just for further consideration of the board. Motion been made and supported. I'll do a roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. All right, John, what we're going to do is we're going to get those plans. We'll have them available for the next meeting. We will put them online just in case those people that have been following would do that and see. And then I can promise you, John, that we will, and again, unless a meteor hits or something catastrophic happens, we'll vote on this on June 14th. I think, given the comments that we've received from EPG, the changes that you've made, the comments from abutters, the changes you've made, the comments from the board, the changes you made, I can't promise you anything, but I think that the process has borne out that at the end of the day, this is a project that can be permitted under the Wetlands Protection Act, and we can also protect the wetlands by doing what we're doing. So I know it's not 100% the answer you want tonight, but it gets you a little bit closer there, John. I do apologize.
Well, we're going to be there on the 14th for the restoration meeting anyway.
Well, there you go. We'll do 2 birds, 1 stone, and we'll only charge you once. All right? That was a joke for everybody out there. All right, so that being said, if there's nothing else to add, and we will, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 41 Water Street to June 14th, 7 o'clock at the Community Room, Freetown Police Station.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and supported. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Thanks, John. We'll get you taken care of next time. I apologize. All right?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, buddy. All right.
Thank
Item number 8. You're welcome. Have a great night. Be safe. Item number 8, we have a review of plan changes. Do we have anybody here for the 53 Dr. Brayley Road in East Freetown?
Yes, Michael Vitiglio from Navison, and Spencer Lenz is also here from Prime Engineering.
Excellent. So welcome. This is 53 Dr. Brayley Road. Again, that is on our website. You can check it out. What this was, folks, to keep everybody understanding, we had previously approved a solar array to be located on the Spencer's property over there at 53 Brayley Road. You have come into the planning board already, is that correct?
That is correct. That was maybe a month ago, I think, at this point.
Yep. And you received a positive outcome from that meeting. Not to speak for you, but you're basically reducing actually the overall footprint. As you explained it, the technology has gotten to the point where you don't necessarily have to have as many arrays to get the same amount of kilowatts. Is that correct?
Yep, correct. Yeah, exactly. So.
All right. So again, those following along, you can pull up you've got its proposed plans, and what they're asking us tonight is, does this rise to the level? And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, or what's the woman's name that you said you're with?
It's actually Spencer Lenz.
Well, see, don't get old, guys. You can't hear either. So Spencer, if either one of you two want to jump in, that's fine. But what you're asking me is, or asking the board is, does this rise to the level of a major change that would require the filing of an amended notice of intent? Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
All right. See, after 20 years, I'm finally getting the hang of this. So, board members, basically, this is not a public hearing. They're just asking they're decreasing the footprint. Stormwater management stays the same. Everything's staying the same other than the amount of arrays that are going to be there. My opinion is this certainly does not rise to the level of a major modification that would require a new public hearing. I wonder what the other board members think about that.
Well, my feeling is it's going to be smaller, correct?
You got it.
And it's going to be further away from, or to some extent, it's going to be further away from any wetlands. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. I think my questions have been answered, and
I think mine was answered too, Charlie.
Yeah, if I could add in addition to that, also
Please,
the equipment, the permanent equipment for the solar arrays have also been moved out of the 100-foot buffer zone. So
Right.
along with the size of the site being reduced, the equipment and equipment pads have also been moved out of the buffer zone.
So
Yeah,
so in other words, we're getting more better. Is that correct?
Better in every way, yes.
All right.
You got it. You got it. And this is almost a no-brainer, but it's a procedural thing. We have to do it. So if there's no other comments from the board members, then I will entertain a motion that we agree with the applicant's assertion that the changes are as shown to us on the proposed plans dated. What's the revision date on that? Is it March 18th? No. May 1st. Correct?
Yeah, I just actually clicked out of it, so let me just pull it back up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can do it. I just gotta blow it up a little bit.
The proposed plans were April 6th of this year.
April.
And the narrative was May 20th of this year.
Okay. And it says, and I've got, it's April 6th. The other date was 2019. Hello, Kevin.
Right.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion. What was that?
All right, sorry, that's mine.
I was gonna say, is that you, Proby?
Yeah, we're good though, sorry.
No worries. I'll entertain a motion, again, that we agree with the assertion that this does not rise to the level of a major modification. It does not require the filing of an amended notice of intent, as the project has been reduced in overall size, and the buffer zone impact has been reduced also.
And you're asking for a motion, correct?
I'm at a motion, and within that motion, we're referring to the plan set dated April 6, 2021.
Right. I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
And I'll second it.
Matt, thank you. Motion made and supported. There's no further discussion. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Mike, thank you very much. Spencer, I apologize for thinking that you were a woman. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
If you're anything like me, you've been called much worse in your life. So, guys, thanks again. If you need anything else, let us know. And what I will try to do in the next coming weeks is have our office follow up with something that shows that it may just be, in fact, a copy of our minutes for your files, so that everybody's on the same page.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you, guys.
All right, you're welcome. Have a great night. Yeah, you're welcome. Yep, bye-bye now. Okay, so we have new business here on our agenda. The first item is to reappoint Kevin Demaris to the Soil Board.
So moved.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
All right, I'm going to do one vote on all of these things. Reappoint Mike McHugh as Open Space Consultant. Can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. Revote to have Kevin Demaris sign the bills. And what is that? You guys know what that's all about. So
moved.
Motion.
Second.
So moved. Second, of course. Yeah, because it's none of you guys. And then finally, it's with a heavy heart. We're being asked to accept the resignation of Victoria DeAnthony. She was, like I said, she only had 6 months, but she left a very good impression with not only conservation, but I think with the rest of the staff here. And we wish her luck in her new endeavor. She's working in Rochester now, so good for her. I heard back from her this week, and while she says she's a little bit busier and she's learning stuff, she does miss us. So we've got motions on the table and second. If there's no other discussion on the motions, hearing none, all those in favor, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Motion's passed unanimously. Have we had an opportunity to look at the meeting minutes? If not, we're just going to have to take care of them next week, or next meeting at the 14th. That's. You want to just do it? We'll just do it the 14th then. I'll make sure that
Okay.
these, hopefully these will get out, and we'll send them out. We'll do it on the 14th. So we just need to make sure it's gonna be the minutes from April 12th, the 26th, and May 10th. It's just the last 3 meetings. So, all right, if there's nothing else from, general public or staff or Conservation Commission members, I will entertain a motion to adjourn and look forward to seeing everybody's smiling face on the 14th at the new police station.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank
the
you.
motion.
Motion made, supported. No further discussion. Roll call vote, Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Thankfully, and hopefully it's the last time. Folks, thanks again for your patience over the last year. Appreciate you playing.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, stay safe, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All righty.
See you guys.
Everybody.
Yeah, bye-bye now.
Bye.